Hello, you're tuning in the English News Bulletin on QPVN channel. I'm Cho Nguyen, and now let me keep you up to date with the headlines. Party General Secretary Tô Lâm attends launch of Spring Tree Planting Festival in Ninh. President Ho Chi Minh praised for his wise decision in establishing Communist Party of Vietnam. Vietnam's export gets bustling on first days of Lunar New Year. On the occasion of the 75th founding anniversary of the diplomatic ties between the Socialist Republic of Vietnam and the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, January 31st, 1950, January 31st, 2025. On January 31st, General Secretary Tô Lâm and President Lương Cường exchanged congratulatory messages with General Secretary and President of the State Affairs of DPRK, Kim Jong-un. Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính exchanged messages with Premier of the Cabinet of DPRK Park Tae-song. National Assembly Chairman Trần Thanh Mẫn exchanged messages with Chairman of the Supreme People's Assembly of DPRK Park An-chon. The messages affirmed that over the past 75 years, the traditional friendship between Vietnam and DPRK, founded by President Ho Chi Minh and President Kim Il-sung, and cultivated by generations of leaders and people of the two countries, has continuously developed. The party, state, and people of Vietnam always attach importance to and wish to promote the cooperative relationship with DPRK more strongly and substantially in many fields, in accordance with the aspirations of the two peoples and the international commitments of each country, contributing to maintaining peace, stability, cooperation, and development in the region and the world. The two sides will coordinate closely to implement the celebration activities of the Vietnam DPRK Friendship Year 2025. The congratulatory messages from DPRK leaders to the Vietnamese counterparts also expressed the firm belief that the long-standing friendship and cooperation between the DPRK and Vietnam will be continuously strengthened and developed, encouraging and strongly promoting the cause of socialism construction of both countries. On January 31st, or the third day of Lunar January, Party General Secretary Tô Lâm attended the launch of the 2025 Spring Tree Planting Festival in Hoa Lư City, Ninh Bình Province. More than just a meaningful traditional practice, it is a concrete and practical action reflecting Vietnam's strong commitment to the international community and its national strategy on climate change toward a greener planet and the country's rapid and sustainable development. Party General Secretary Tô Lâm stated that the dissemination work must be carried out in various forms so that people can understand the purpose of the festival. He also expressed his belief that with the long-standing historical tradition, the determination and solidarity of the entire party, people, and military, the movement Tree Planting Festival to forever remember Uncle Ho will continue to prove its effectiveness and protect the eco-environment to successfully implement the strategy of rapid and sustainable development when entering a new era, the era of national growth. The active period of President Ho Chi Minh in Hong Kong, China, on the path to national salvation and liberation wasn't long, but closely linked to the foundation of the Communist Party of Vietnam. After 95 years, one of the most impressive things for researchers is his wise decision in choosing the time and location to hold the conference to unify communist organizations in Vietnam. During holidays or the Lunar New Year, people in Hong Kong, China often gather at places of worship to burn incense and pray for good luck or to visit and enjoy the scenery. However, 95 years ago, President Ho Chi Minh and his comrades secretly held a unification conference to establish the Communist Party of Vietnam near Sung Wong Toi Park and across the Ho Wong Temple during the Lunar New Year of 1930. From February the 3rd to the 7th, 1930, on January the 5th to the 9th in lunar calendar, the conference to unify and establish the Communist Party of Vietnam took place at different locations in Kowloon Peninsula, Hong Kong. There, an agreement to merge three communist organizations into a single political party, or the Communist Party of Vietnam, was reached, and the party's documents drafted by Nguyễn Ái Quốc were also approved. What impressed me the most was the time and location President Ho Chi Minh wisely chose to chair the conference to unify communist organizations to establish the Communist Party of Vietnam on February 3, 1930. During his stay in Guangzhou, China, from 1924 to 1927, Nguyen Ai Quốc worked tirelessly to spread Marxism-Leninism to the labor and patriotic movements in Vietnam, laying the theoretical groundwork for the revolution. At the same time, he established the Vietnam Revolutionary Youth League in June 1925 and organized numerous training courses to prepare personnel and build the organizational structure, creating the ideal conditions for the founding of the CPV. The Conference to Unify Communist Organizations to establish the Communist Party of Vietnam in Hong Kong in 1930 marks a brilliant milestone in the history of the Vietnamese Revolution and affirms the great role and contributions of the great President Ho Chi Minh. Enjoying the peaceful and happy Lunar New Year holidays, the Vietnamese people would never forget those in the fire of war. For the Trường Sơn veterans, the Lunar New Year festival in 1973, when peace was restored in a flash, was an unforgettable traditional holiday, among others. Not until that moment did they realize that the ideal of peace, independence, and freedom for the Vietnamese people, the ideal that they sacrificed their lives to pursue, was right in front of them. In the memories of these veterans, there is a Lunar New Year festival on the battlefield that they would never forget. The Lunar New Year in 1973, the first peaceful traditional festival ever after years of war. On January the 27th, 1973, also the 24th day of the last lunar year. The Paris Accords on ending the war and restoring peace in Vietnam were officially signed. The U.S. side's acceptance of the withdrawal of all troops on the battlefield in the south of Vietnam was such a victory of crucial importance to Vietnamese military and people on the path to national liberation and reunification. For the soldiers who were in the struggle of life and death, it was such an endless joy as if they saw the hope of life. The Lunar New Year festival that has left a lasting mark on my mind until now was in 1973. On that occasion, the battlefield suddenly became quiet. For the soldiers at that time, they seemed to be over the moon. While we were daily confronting with bombs, it suddenly became quiet. Oh my God, how sick was Mom? Oh Mom, how much has you recovered? When you were sick, I was still on the battlefield. These diary entries were written by Deputy Company Commander MINH on Lunar New Year's Eve in 1973. On the rare moments of peace, the soldiers on the battlefield found themselves time for the sense of nostalgia and dreams. After celebrating the Lunar New Year with my comrades, my mind drifted to my hometown and my beloved ones. First of all, it was my mother. My mother was old. During the years I was on the battlefield, my mother was so sick. On the New Year's Eve, the first day of the Lunar New Year, there was no battle to fight. At that time, I was absent-mindedly remembering, then dreaming of the day I would return to my homeland, walking on the riverbanks and reuniting with my relatives. The space seems to be so quiet, so that soldiers had time to remember the rare. Peace at that time seemed to be a resting period of the war. Therefore, the joy could not be complete. When the Paris Accords were signed, I was in Krati, Cambodia, delivering vehicles and goods. When I returned to the military stations, people also served us with chung cakes, pork rolls, and drinks so that we could celebrate date early. The unit planned to organize activities observing the traditional festival when we were back to the unit. On the way back at kilometers 12, unfortunately, due to slippery roads, a vehicle fell over. One of my comrades was seriously injured in the spine, almost paralyzed. Then he was taken to the hospital and transferred to the home front. Some others were also injured and were hospitalized. When we returned, the unit's commanders decided not to celebrate the traditional holiday. By the time the Paris Accords was signed, the U.S. and its vassals has mobilized 733,000 planes to attack 152,000 battles, dropping nearly 4 million tons of bombs and ammunition into the routes, far exceeding the number of bombs and ammunition mobilized by the Axis power in World War II. In the face of fierce bombs and ammunition of the enemy, the soldiers not only had strong willpower, but also intense yearning for peace. We always thought that we would surely win, and the peace would surely be restored. In that spirit that lingers on among the troops in the whole military, we definitely won. Everyone longed for peace. Everyone thought that peace was a good thing in life. After the rare moments of peace, the Vietnamese people continued with the resistance war to liberate the South and reunify the country, as the American imperialists blatantly sabotaged the accords, helping the puppet government to implement a plan of flooding the territory operations. The peaceful Lunar New Year festival in 1973, therefore, was like a moment of silence amidst the fierce war, so that the Chung Sun soldiers could revive their strength and confidence in the long-term resistance war.
Coming up next, Vietnam's export gets bustling on the first days of Lunar New Year. Overseas Vietnamese in Laos visit pagodas to welcome Lunar New Year. During the first days of the Lunar New Year 2025, Vietnam's export of goods is bustling on both land and sea routes, promising a year of remarkable export growth. Tân Cảng Các Lai Port will welcome 76 ships with an output of more than 1.5 million tons of goods, an increase of 9% compared to the same period in 2024. To serve the operations at the port during the state holiday, more than 1,000 workers work each shift to ensure smooth import and export of goods. Meanwhile, at Lao Cai International Border Gate, import and export activities are also carried out like on normal days during the state holiday. The number of export vehicles is expected to increase as some other border gates on Lạng Sơn borderline close in 4 days during the state holiday. These days, amidst the breezy atmosphere of the new spring, Phật Tích Pagoda in Laos is getting busier and cozier. To many overseas Vietnamese here, visiting pagodas in the Lunar New Year holidays has long been an indispensable cultural feature.
Born and grew up in Laos, every year, Nga, along with her children and grandchildren, visit the pagoda to pray for peace and well-being, as well as to help the descendants understand the cultural features of the traditional Lunar New Year. I pray for good health for my families and to recall the family's meaningful tradition of reunion during the date holidays. In the Lunar New Year holidays, I often visit pagoda with my family and pray for a year of well-being for my loved ones. This is such a precious tradition that needs preserving and promoting. People visit pagodas to pray for different things in life. Some seek prosperity or love, some seek tranquility amidst the bustling life, and some wish to recall the traditional date atmosphere at home. I'm so happy to immerse in the date atmosphere in Laos, but much similar to in Vietnam, I always long for my homeland. Despite changes of time, to Vietnamese people, no matter where they are on this earth, the cultural beauty of visiting pagodas in a new spring is not only a tradition, but also an opportunity to pass on the good traditional values of the nation to the next generation, demonstrating the aspiration for a happy, prosperous life and the respect to the root.
And that's all for now. Remember, you can always watch the news again at QPVN.vn. Now, thank you for watching and hope to see you next time.